What?
Is there a sense of failure that might just bother, or are you scared of it or something?
What?
To an extent.
In honor of its 5th anniversary, I watched Tubelight for the first time on 23rd June 2022. And despite being one of those films that I cannot figure out what is right or wrong with, Tubelight is a film that well, you'll have to wait until the end to find out. With the success of Bajrangi Bhaijaan, at the time the most successful Indian film in history, Salman Khan decided to work with Kabir Khan again. In this period, Kabir Khan and Salman Khan had developed an oddly successful relationship. In both of the projects they had worked on together, Salman and Kabir created memorable, iconic hits, Ek Tha Tiger and Bajrangi Bhaijaan, especially with the second film because it was so successful and of course, it was a beautiful film. This was also a turning point because until now, they had achieved success with a true belief in their work. But this time, instead of creating something original, they were swayed by the idea of making sure everything they had from their previous successes was used to capitalize on what they had already accomplished. And this is the fundamental problem with Tubelight. Tubelight is a simple story disguised as a complicated one. It begins simply enough with a story about two brothers, Lakshman and Bharat. Lakshman is shown to have autism, but the filmmakers refer to him as having special needs. I do think that Lakshman's character is enriched by not knowing exactly what his disorder is. It is never mentioned in the film. This alone gives him a certain mystique. He is a person with almost no power at all, but he may surprise the world when it comes to it. Lakshman's younger brother Bharat, played by Salman's actual younger brother Sohail Khan, is kind of his savior. They survive even with all their troubles, and although it's not clear how they get food on their plate, it's assumed it's leftover family wealth. Lakshman is left out of the selection for the army, and this is when trouble begins. Due to his isolation, Lakshman now has to survive alone. And while Tubelight comes with an attractive setup, it begins to flicker after a while. Tubelight portrays a dual ideology, a constant sense of patriotism interwoven with military service, and a constant sense of patriotism interwoven with goodness. The brothers embody each of these traits, but only one of them reaches its crux. Through understanding Gandhiji's teachings, Lakshman becomes a better person in general, rectifying his earlier mistakes and letting go of his sins, thereby influencing everyone around him. Meanwhile, Bharat struggles in wartime to survive. It puzzles me that they did not choose another Indian freedom fighter like perhaps Subhash Chandra Bose. This is because his military leanings would be able to portray Bharat's mental state and learnings through his horrifying situations. Tubelight would have had a more consistent stride if both the brothers had their ideals in mind. You know, one Gandhi and one Subhash Chandra Bose or someone else, instead of a half-empty bottle that pretends to be full. As each time the narrative shifts from Lakshman's point of view to Bharat's, it feels dreadful because it's so empty in its narrative pacing as opposed to Lakshman's constant evolution. But in order to exactly find out why Tubelight failed, we need to also find out why Ek Tha Tiger and Bajrangi Bhaijaan worked. Have you ever wondered why Ek Tha Tiger was such a big hit? It is likely due to the fact that it was an original film when it was released. The title in itself conveys a sense of beguilement, as if someone or something has been lost. But in another way, it isn't. Ek Tha Tiger wasn't about a cool spy doing cool things, but about escaping from them. What No Time to Die was trying to do in 2021 was already done by Ek Tha Tiger in 2012. When Bajrangi Bhaijaan came out in 2015, it was clear that it was the right time for the kind of film that it was. In terms of politics and social appeal, Salman Khan himself said that the film is not about two countries or their situations. Instead, it is about a man trying to find the home of a missing girl who cannot speak. In a time where Indian films were trying to emulate films from all over the world, trying to get their hands on the international spectacle by trying to make films about extraordinary people in extraordinary situations, Kabir Khan and Salman Khan made a simple film about simple people doing extraordinary things, and the whole world sat and watched in awe. During just 2.5 hours, people moved from screams of joy to wholesome tears. Those two films create an immense graph of emotions, not just by design, but because they are honest in their stories, in their direction, and in their music. But Tubelight is trying to imitate those emotions again, and it is doing so quite forcefully. If it didn't try that throughout its length, I think it would even succeed. It is impossible to sit through 2 hours of emotional scenes in a movie theater, but Tubelight demands that emotion throughout its running time. In a sense, it's like a game where there's one good thing followed by one bad thing, followed by one good thing, followed by one bad thing. Because it jumps between the two emotions so often, things stop having such an impact after a while. The climax did not make a significant impact for most, I believe, because it happened so gradually, and to be honest, it is mundane. In his last scene, Kabir Khan tries to show how the brothers' roles have changed and then they are rebalanced. However, if Bharat survived without ever developing his character, when even the town troublemaker eventually learns to be a good man, what really was his character's point? It's a sign your screenplay is in trouble when you have a side character that is more memorable and has more character development than one of the lead characters. And that's a lot of characters. While we may blame the film's half commercial, half art house cinema vibe, or the editing that fades into slow motion and out of it, or the soundtrack which sounds like a demo tape in the second half, Salman Khan believes that none of these reasons majorly account for the film's failure. In his opinion, the film simply came out at the wrong time, and I agree with him. Salman Khan's tradition is to release a film on Eid. As a result, they just rolled with it blindly in 2017 since they could get that date, regardless of whether it suited the kind of film Tubelight was. It is a time of celebration, a festival. To sit in a theater and listen to Gandhiji's lessons on being a virtuous person is just not appropriate during that time of the year. It's not exactly the festive vibe people hope for. Tiger Zinda Hai was released during Christmas time in the same year, and look what happened. It became one of the highest grossing movies of all time from India. A lot of that had to do with the fact that it was released between 2 very close festivals. Everyone had their bonuses, students were on vacation, and Big Boss was still running. Salman Khan was everywhere, hated by some but unavoidable by all. In any case, Tubelight's failure teaches us that big stars like Salman Khan can fail despite their popularity, even when they have cameo appearances from fellow big stars like SRK, just because of small mistakes like marketing or bigger ones like their making. Which one is it? You decide. And I'm sorry, I'd be happy if my 100 crore budget film made over 200 crores at the end of its lifetime. I would call that a hit. Why is Tubelight called a flop again? How much did Bajrangi Bhaijaan make anyway? Oh, okay.